The ideology that video games only harm the children of the world is by itself a one-sided argument. I believe that video games support and hone our children's skills and allow them to safely conduct the necessary testing without the parental fear of them on the streets and getting in trouble. I know that certain video games are not the best for learning. The majority of the games out now are quite intuitive. These games are offering our children and students the ability to lead groups as well as teaching them to read and write. They are offering more than just social interaction. During this presentation, I will explain my side and hopefully shed some new light on where video games sit on the verge of helping more than hurting our future generations. I have read an article from abcnews.go.com, and it had several quotes from leading professors and even doctors that explained the future of learning would be video games. Allow me to read you a quote from this. It was a study in the February edition of Archives of Surgery that says surgeons who regularly play video games are generally more skilled at performing laparoscopic surgery. In addition, according to Dr. Jeffrey Takeman, the director of Duke University's Human Simulation and Patient Safety Center, serious games and virtual environments are the future of education. It has also been stated in this same article. It also delves into children that are learning advanced social skills as well. Even traditional games teach kids basic everyday skills, according to Ian Bogost, associate professor of the Georgia Institute of Technology and founder of software maker Persuasive Games. He wanted to say, look at World of Warcraft. You get 11-year-olds who are learning to delegate responsibility, promote teamwork, and steer groups of people toward a common goal. I've also found a nice video that will offer some insight into the teaching of dyslexic children as well. Please watch this video and enjoy.
From VOA Learning English, this is the Technology Report. Dyslexia is a learning disorder. It interferes with the ability to recognize words and, for some people, to understand what they have read. Experts say dyslexia affects about 5 to 10% of the population in the United States. Researchers have long known that people with dyslexia write or read words and letters backwards, in the wrong order. But a new study shows that dyslexic people may have trouble redirecting their attention between senses. It suggests that such individuals may have trouble moving quickly from what they read to what they hear. The findings were published in the journal Current Biology. Vanessa Harar of Britain's University of Oxford led the study. She tested 17 people with dyslexia and 19 others without any reading problems. The volunteers were asked to push a button as quickly as possible when they heard a sound, saw a light, or experienced both together. Dr. Harar compared the speed of their reactions. She found that people with dyslexia were just as fast as the others when they saw only a picture or heard only a sound. But the dyslexics had a slower reaction time when they heard a sound and saw a picture at the same time. Dr. Harar thinks that playing action video games could help dyslexic people move more quickly from seeing to hearing. She adds that fast-moving images in video games force the eyes to move quickly. She says the games train the attention system to move quickly. The study also showed that dyslexic people might learn more quickly if they heard the sound of a letter or word before seeing it. This may affect how dyslexic children are taught to read. For VOA Learning English, I'm Laurel Bowman.
I found this nice article online that also told of a 12-year-old boy called Hans Jorgen Olsen. Saved himself and his sister from a moose attack using skills he learned from World of Warcraft. Hans and his sister accidentally entered the moose's territory, and the moose attacked. Hans taunted away the moose to take its attention away from his sister. He then played dead, making the moose lose interest in the game. Taunting is used to get an enemy's attention, and feigned death tricks enemies into ignoring you. I hope you all enjoyed that. The statistics behind video games and the education that go with it are quite interesting. According to Innovative Learning, I got a couple of interesting facts from them. An 8th grader plays video games an average of 5 hours per week. By high school, 77% of students have played games. By college, nearly all have. 60% of college students are regular game players. As of April 2005, America's Army, which is a very popular military-based shooter, first-person shooter as it's called, had more than 5 million registered users. According to the Pew Internet and American Life Project, 70% of college students play video or online games at least once in a while. 65% of college students are regular or occasional game players. If most of the students are playing video games this much, then we must be retaining new information and learning some type of new skills. If we spend this much time behind a controller, then we must gain some type of new skill. Some of the testimonials from the help of playing video games are ever expansive and are constantly growing. I have read and seen many of these things with my own eyes, and I've often read of video games actually helping people to quit drugs and other types of bad behavior. I feel that instead of reading these to you, I would actually share my own experience with video games, helping to teach me to not feel dependent on alcohol. This is a little far out from my main points, but in the end it will all make sense as to how it taught me. I used to depend on alcohol every day, from the time I was 20 to 24. I often found myself spending all my money and having nothing to show of it. I found myself getting into trouble with the law and hurting the ones I loved around me. I had no interest in going to a 12-step program, so I took it upon myself after I met my girlfriend, whom is now my wife. I turned to playing Xbox with my closest friends, and when I wasn't focused on my wife, I'd focus all of my attention on my video games, and I constantly played. I began to lose the interest and even the thought of actually drinking. I had a way to focus my senses on video games, and which led me to not wanting to drink at all. I eventually was able to put my hand-eye coordination that I learned from video games to the test at my job when I started working with robotics, and I was able to take the lead man position at the company. The lead man position came naturally after playing World of Warcraft, as many of you have heard that game before, for a couple of years, and leading 25 people at a time to do certain tasks. The learning is real. The merits of learning from video games have more ups than any downs I have seen and or came in contact with. I believe that society can learn from video games, and from young to old can hone all of our skills, from reading to writing, and from listening to watching. We should all take the time to try out at least one video game before we count them out. Video games will eventually be a key source to learning new skills for all of us, and new passions we didn't already know or have. What will be your next game? Thank you all for taking the time to watch my presentation. If you would like it, share it, or learn from it. This is for COM 218. My instructor is Vandy Forrester. Again, Thank you for taking the time to watch my video. Thank you.